Welcome to episode 11 of Michael Reads from a Book, a series in which I read from a variety of books. Today's selection is The Damned Busters by Hughes, a story about a slightly autistic man who accidentally makes a deal with the devil and winds up being a superhero as a result, as clearly happens in most cases. We're going to be reading from chapter 4, which is a point shortly after he's been granted his demonic superpowers. A moment later, Chesney found himself back in his studio apartment. The electric calendar on the countertop between the main room and the kitchen nook said that it was the same day on which he had first summoned up the Toad Demon. The calendar's clock function ticked over to the second just after he had smashed his thumb with a hammer. As with the firmament and the Tower of Babel, the days when hell had gone on strike had been written over, and thus they never were. Chesney's thumb hurt and bled, but he suppressed the urge to utter anything more than a heartfelt groan. Nor did he shake the wounded digit, spraying blood on his unfinished poker table. Instead, he popped it into his mouth and sucked it. "Isn't that a pretty sight?" said a gravel, scratchy voice. Chesney turned to see the diminutive, weasel-headed supervisor in the Al Capone suit, regarding him with disgust. A thumb-sucker yet. Chesney extended the hurt thumb. "Heal it." The fiend shrugged. "Zaffin, I command you," Chesney said. They had now been formally introduced. "Heal my thumb." Zaffin rolled its weasel eyes, then gestured brusquely. Immediately the pain left Chesney's thumb. The swollen redness disappeared, and the split flesh from which his blood had flowed was whole again. "Good," said the young man. "Now let's get to work. We don't have much time before the guys come over for poker." The demon consulted a gold pocket watch chained to its vest. "I can give you 1 hour, 59 minutes, 5 seconds, and no banking on the unused time." "I know the terms of the deal," said Chesney, "so in the future don't waste time reminding me." He rubbed his hands. "Now first thing, I'm going to need a costume. It has to be bulletproof, knife-proof, fireproof, acid-proof." He thought for a moment. "Well, let's just make it generally proof against anything that could harm me." "You're going to want a cape?" Zaffin said. The young man shook his head. Malk Turner, a.k.a. the driver, didn't wear a cape. "But I'm thinking I should have some kind of utility belt to hold all the doodads I'll need." "What kind of doodads?" "Doodads that let me climb walls and see through doors, that kind of thing. We'll work it out later." "You ain't gonna need no doodads," said the demon. "Anything you need to do, I'll make happen." "What if I need super speed?" "I can do that." "The strength of 10 men?" "Yup." "See through walls?" The half-sized fiend waved its hand, and the wall between Chesney's apartment and the neighbors became transparent. The neighbors themselves, a couple who had recently immigrated from Mumbai, looked up from their couch in some startlement. "Transparent for me," Chesney said. "Not for everybody." Zaffin moved his arm again, and now the Indian couple were looking at each other with a "did you see that?" expression. "Can you make them forget what happened?" The young man said. "Sure." The man was getting up and approaching the wall, one hand gingerly extended. "Then do it!" Now the neighbor was standing in his living room, looking at his outreached hand with a puzzled look on his face. His wife said, "Sanjit, what are you doing?" Chesney said, "Make it opaque again." The demon shrugged and the wall reappeared. "Is there anything you can't do for me?" the young man said. "Can't you make the whole universe?" said Zaffin, counting on its stubby fingers. "Can't do nothing that's outside the deal. Can't do nothing that conflicts with some other mug's deal." Now it wagged one of its little digits. "Hell don't fight hell. That's about it." "Okay," said Chesney, "now back to business. First, I need a good name." "How's about the Bozo?" "Enough of your sass," Chesney said. "I'm thinking, maybe the Actionary. How does that sound?" The demon rolled its oversized eyes. "Like some punk thinks he's the top of the world." "Listen," said Chesney, "a deal's a deal. You're my condition, and your boss agreed to it. I give you 2 hours out of every 24. You come back when I call you, and together we fight crime and bad guys." The fiend put its hands in its pockets and scuffed its spat shoes against the carpet. "I don't like this. I don't like you." "You don't have to. Back to the costume. I've always liked Batman's colors, blue and gray, good for lurking in the shadows, but I want a big capital A on my chest. Zaffin muttered something that Chesney didn't catch. He ignored it and continued. And gloves. No gauntlets, that's the word. And boots to match. And it's all got to fold up small enough to fit inside a pouch I can carry in my pocket for when I have to go into action on short notice. Just say, Zaffin costume, and I'll put it on you, pronto. Really? The demon sniffed. Well, hell, it said. We don't monkey around. He looked Chesney up and down. You're kind of scrawny. You want me to bulk you up a little? Maybe give you a cleft chin? Or a curl of hair down over your forehead? How's about that? Yeah, so that's a little piece of that. It gets points for being kind of definitely original for a superhero novel. Most of them are kind of obvious retreads of big Marvel and DC themes, but this is pretty original. It's not perfect, but definitely an interesting idea. And that concludes this episode. Tune in next time where I will read from another book.